everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Twilight Zone Season 2, Episode 10. It's called You Might Also Like. So, full spoilers for the episode. As always, I feel like the title of this one, it's almost like it's supposed to say this after you're finished, and CBS All Access like, you might also like, and recommend you some other things.
Lower Decks.
For example, yes, you might also like Lower Decks. But here we are. This episode sucked. Like, we just, like...
Not even a synopsis, huh?
I'll get to that in a minute, but just, how did you feel about it?
I didn't like it. Yeah, it's not very good. It's very busy. And I don't... Like, I understand the point of, like the consumerism message going out and, like, taking advantage of people who have grief. But, all the little details in it like don't really make any sense to me.
Yep.
And there's like a weird comedy beat that doesn't work for me. Yeah, it's not very good.
Yeah,
it might be the worst one. I mean, 8 was pretty bad, but
8? That was a small town one.
No, it was just called 8. Remember we had the discussion?
Okay, yes, the episode called 8. Yeah, right. Okay, I get you. I was like, we talked about it. It was actually one of the oddly better ones. I had odd expectations going into this for two reasons. One, episode 9, the last episode we did, was by far the best episode this show's done. The only one that I would outright call good, maybe even great. And also, the writer and director of this episode is a director that I'm a fan of. Oz Perkins, who also happens to be Anthony Perkins' son, as Tara pointed out to me before we started. I won't take credit for it. You knew that. I didn't.
And he plays one of the aliens in this too. You can tell because he looks just like his father.
But he directed The Black Coast Daughter, which is also known as February in certain regions. That's a really strong movie with Emma Roberts and Kieran Shipka, I think, is in that, and maybe someone else that popped up a few times as well. But it was a really good little horror movie. And then just this year, he had the movie Gretel and Hansel came out, which I thought was a stunning little film. Super great visuals, all of it. It was the girl who played Beverly Marsh in it, who was the lead in it. Really
I
good
remember
stuff.
you telling me that it was really, really good, and I was surprised because I hadn't really heard anything about it.
Yeah, I loved it.
I remember seeing the trailers for it and thinking that looked really dark, but it's a horror movie, so it's probably going to be bad. I'll wait and see what the consensus is.
Honestly, I mean, admittedly, there's not a lot of competition this year, but right now it's in the running for my favourite of the year.
Whoa.
I know, yes. Just eking out...
Take that, Cosmos. Was that this year? I don't know. That was last year.
It was last year, but I mean, it's still funny. So I came into this with some expectations, and we have this plot. This honestly at the start is kind of confusing until it eventually clicks into place, kind of what the rhythm of the episode is. But it's basically this middle-aged woman who seems to have a family, but we never actually see any evidence of the family in the house. It's just this woman who, she seems to be a housewife, and she's got a husband and kids, but we never see them.
We just see the portrait of them.
Yeah.
And we see, I guess, when she dreams of her family.
Yeah, we see them in one of the dreams, because that's the weird thing here is that she has these weird TV commercial style dreams for weird products and like messages, and then she wakes up in her bed, and she's basically been blacking out, but she always ends up in her bed no matter where she was when she... we don't even see her pass out. We just kind of see it transition to like a video effect, and it's like, oh, we're doing some sort of weird VR sex advert or something. And then she'll wake up in bed, and it's this kind of the rhythm to the episode where it keeps doing that. And eventually she's concerned, so she tries to like tie herself. She gets a camera first, actually, and she like just to film her sleeping and see like what happens when I'm passing out, what's going on. And she sees herself like being dragged. It's almost as if there's an invisible force like holding her up under the armpits and like dragging her across the room. So then she tries to tie herself to like a table, and that leads to her sort of like waking up when she's getting pulled out the window. Seemingly being abducted by aliens. There's also one of the main sort of plots of the episode is that later that afternoon, she and her neighbor are getting the family egg, where they don't really know what it is, but they're really excited about getting it, and she starts to question why they want this egg, what it is. She tries to call customer service. What is this egg? Why do I want it? Why are you giving it to me? Maybe I should cancel it. Like,
Yeah. Honestly, I don't mind the egg stuff. Like the idea that you don't really know why you want something.
mm-hmm.
You just know you want it because everybody has it and because it's new and it's supposed to make your life better. Like that's what all advertisement is, right? It's
That's
like this is the thing that will make your life better.
this is the
You
consumerism
spend your money.
this is the consumerism you were mentioning earlier on, is the egg stuff,
Yeah,
really.
yeah, and that stuff I didn't really mind. In fact, like during the episode, I thought like I wonder how this is going to play out. But a lot of the little things, like how they get there, just really brought the episode down for me. There's a lot of like comedic beats, even a lot of the advertisements. Like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really get the point. Like there's one like immolation thing with their family where they go to like a Chuck E. Cheese and burn people. I don't really understand that.
Yeah,
what the point of that was.
the neighbor character is there for comic relief, where she comes in and just says, you know, I used to like your counter a little bit more than mine, but now I like mine a bit more than yours. And it's just all about talking about things. It's all these possessions and just
Yeah, and everything, like everybody looks the same. They all dress the same. They all have like the athleisure wear and the perfect house, and everything looks the same, like from a catalog.
And honestly,
So like the fact that they're jealous of what someone else has doesn't really make sense.
yeah, honestly, I think the consumerism message just feels a little bit, I don't know, it feels a little bit like sort of undercooked, where there was an idea, and the idea is fine to a point, because I actually think the episode, despite the fact that I think it's kind of trash overall in terms of its writing, in terms of what it's probably one of the better directed episodes. I can definitely see some like a different,
There's some style in it. Yeah.
there's a different tone and style to a lot of it, because a lot of the episodes we've complained have the same style that we don't really like that much. Last episode avoided it, which was nice. This episode has a style, but it's definitely a distinct style, and I could definitely see like Osgood Perkins, if he had a chance to like, you know, develop this into a more, maybe not this exact idea, because obviously once it gets to the aliens, which is a callback to our original series, because remember, this is the thing, last season of this show, it went out of its way in its final episode to do this really weird meta Twilight Zone fan meets Rod Serling thing, right?
Yeah, but they're also the writer for the new show.
Yeah, yeah. So they wanted to clearly do something again for a finale where it's like, oh well, we can't do that again, so we'll make a callback episode. We'll just call back to
maybe they're doing like a Treehouse of Horrors thing. So like every season finale is gonna have like an obvious callback to an original show.
Yeah, I can see that being a thing, and it's not necessarily a bad idea per se.
Yeah, I didn't hate. I know you didn't like it, but I didn't hate the season finale from the first season. I just thought it was a little bit like, okay, you guys are saying that you have Rod Serling's like, I don't know, blessing for the show, but it didn't really feel earned from the audience side. That was the only thing I had, an issue with. But overall, I didn't really mind that. I liked seeing Rod Serling come back for the show in the way that they were able to do it. But this season finale is just like they're going for almost like a RoboCop thing with the advertisements, but there's no point to them,
Yeah, and honestly, while I didn't necessarily hate the idea of her like starting to like film herself for when she blacks out to see like evidence of what's happening to her, once it became just the aliens like talking to each other when she gets stuck in the tree, and then there's just like almost a 10-minute like just like exposition scene of her talking to the queen alien back and forth, and I don't know, the whole thing where they talk about how she had she had two sons, and then she had a stillborn birth with a daughter, and they cut to like these shots of like a baby being found, or like a doll being found in like a mini casket or something in the woods, and I just kind of felt like this episode has not earned something this dark or gravitas. Like there's nothing in this that makes it feel like, yeah, you can tackle this dark subject.
Especially since the aliens that we get are very like played for laughs. They're very
goofy.
Comedic.
Yeah.
They don't really feel threatening at all. Which, these aliens are from the original show, which from the episode To Serve Man, which I don't think you've seen, because I brought that up previously and you haven't seen it.
I was actually wondering, because I knew this had a sequel element to an original series episode, and I was wondering, wait, was there like an egg thing in the original show or whatever? But from my understanding, just from a quick sort of look, the only thing that's really here is the aliens themselves. Like they were in an episode and now they're here.
Yeah, and to be honest, like after watching it, I don't think that it's a sequel to that episode. I think it's just a reboot.
Sure.
because they kind of set things up. They're very different. Like their motivations are very different in this episode to what they were in the original show.
Yeah, the dialogue is just a joke about how they're hungry, basically.
Yeah,
and they want to eat people.
I do love George Takei, and I love his voice.
Oh, we'll see in Tara.
It was a goofy scene. Well, he actually was in the original show of the Twilight Zone. He was in an episode of that. But also he was in.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Do you think that's why I was setting up? I was setting up. Oh, it was in the original Twilight Zone.
Yep.
Oh dear. Yeah, and then the egg thing, which is basically because obviously the main character decides not to get the egg. We see the neighbor coming home with her egg, and she's she's cherishing it. She's sort of stroking it when it's in the car in the next seat next to her. She might even have a seatbelt on it, which just for comic effect. But when she gets home, she goes off camera, and we hear it kind of crack, and she screams, and
we just see a red mist
of cloud, yeah, and then it turns into like blood hitting the photographs. Honestly, I mean, you got your Star Trek reference in. I'm about to get my reference into the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's an episode in season 2 called Bad Eggs where there's a creature inside the egg. I couldn't help.
Oh yeah, that's the only show that's ever done that, huh?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think of Buffy because Buffy's, my favorite show, and I remember these things more for that show than I do others.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. And notably, that was not a good episode of Buffy, although it was still much better than this episode. It's got a really muddy message. It's got a really offbeat tone, which I don't think it ever quite nails how it wants to feel. So the offbeat tone just kind of feels like a weird, like, just kind of alienating feeling rather than anything that draws me in and goes, because what should be happening when I start this episode and these things are happening, I should be going, oh, what's causing this, or oh, what's really happening? And I'm not. I'm going, why are they acting like this? What's going on?
Yeah, why do they abduct her like every few hours? Yeah, I mean, they seem to, like, when they do take her, they talk about eating her leg. So, like, why do they abduct her like every hour or so?
Yeah, and the actual like taking over the planet, which you assume is the goal of some sort, is just kind of vague and not really that like well thought out or important or.
And at one point, she's on like a ship with them, and then she's asked them, "What time is it on Earth?" Which, I mean, first of all, I mean, it's all times on Earth right now. Yeah, if you just say, "What time is it on Earth?" it's not going to be 12 o'clock. It's going to be 12 o'clock somewhere. Well, like,
if we assume she means in her own time zone, right, where she lives,
sure.
There would
just
be
a weird
answer.
way to phrase it.
Yeah. Yes, technically she's off Earth, so she's not really, like, the time's almost irrelevant.
Yeah. But like, so she got onto like a mothership or something to talk to the Queen, and then they just brought her back real quick. Like, how long was she gone? I don't know. It's very muddled.
Yeah, that scene felt like it went on forever for me. This episode's like just over 40 minutes, I think, and it felt like half of this could have been cut, or at the very least they should have rewritten half of it to make it click and make more sense. It feels like a kind of, I don't know, the spirit of it feels, even though you've got the fun comedy beats with the aliens, the actual main stuff with the consumerism, like, I feel like when I'm watching RoboCop or I'm watching like another satire that's dealing with that kind of stuff, they'll be fun and playful, but they'll make a really poignant like point that you'll go, oh, yeah, like, that's saying
get
something.
Your Nike heart, like, yeah, that's a really good message about consumerism. Like, why would you want the original heart you were born with, even though it's probably perfectly fine if you can have one with Nike on it? That'll make you better.
But this episode, I don't feel at any point was I having fun with any of that stuff, and I never really felt like I was getting anything.
I feel like it was trying to. Like, some of the commercials were pretty goofy, but I don't. But yeah, the tone is very mismatched.
The tone was off, but more importantly, I don't feel like you ever get any sense of, there's no poignancy, I guess, is it, just to use the same word again, because it just feels like it's a really simple message that it's trying to hammer us over the head with. It's not like, it's not doing that thing where, sometimes storytelling's like a handshake. You give the person that's reading or watching or whatever enough so that they have to reach in from the other side and take the hand. You extend the hand out, but you don't just grab their hand and shake it violently and force a handshake. That's what this is doing. This is taking your hand and isn't your handshake? Isn't your handshake sufficiently? Doesn't this feel good? No, not really. You're a crazy person. Back up. Back the F up.
What do you think of the ending?
I'm not going to lie. You're going to have to remind me what the ending was.
The ending is she chooses to go back to Earth and take the egg, and she's excited about it. I guess, like, even though she knows it's going to lead to death and the death of her species, she still can't resist in that feeling of holding it and having a thing that's yours. I
think that just adds to the kind of the lack of any levity or like tone. It just feels sinister, but not in a way that's intriguing or engaging. It just feels mean. It feels like a mean episode.
I mean, they did talk about how, like, I guess it was the neighbor who was talking about how this year is just the worst and she just needs something to make her feel like feel good, and this is going to be the thing that does it. Just I mean, I don't know if they predicted virus or that 2020 would be the worst year ever, but I mean, they nailed that part of it.
Yeah, I have very little more to add for this one. I felt nothing as I was watching it, other than maybe the odd bit of confusion.
I was intrigued in the beginning, like when she kept waking up in her bed over and over again. Like, I wanted to know what the mystery was, but I found it just kind of underwhelming. And I also thought, like, I hate to use the word schlocky because that's kind of your word, but
how's schlocky my word?
Because you say schlock. I've never used it before.
You can say schlock.
Yeah. I'll say it, but I
Tara,
learned it from you.
Yes, I am happy to have taught you a word. You may not use schlock as much as you use any other word to your heart's content.
Well, I thought the Jordan Peele stuff was a little shocky. I liked in the beginning where he goes, submitted for your approval, because that's kind of like the cliche.
But the ending where instead of cutting away from him, he just sort of stands there and points up, and then the light like turns on.
Yeah, I was.
Or
I don't
off,
know.
But with the
it really worked for me this time.
Yeah, I felt like it was trying to make the episode feel more important because it had this extra little bit with him. You know, this extra little gimmicky touch.
Yeah, it's just that his he started off with the cliche Rod Serling intro line, which kind of made the whole thing feel like it could have been interchangeable with any of the episode. It didn't really seem specific or important to this one. Same with the way it ended.
No, I agree. I agree. It ends in a whimper, which is a shame because the last episode was actually really good. For the one and only time that it's pulled that off. So, I mean, hey, that's more than what we can say for season 1. So I guess this is
definitely a step up.
Step in the right direction. It's one step.
Yeah, I didn't hate season 2. Like, I know. I mean, I guess we can kind of give our wrap up thoughts.
Yeah.
It's still not a good show. But we did have a couple of treats in it, and I know you really like Try, and I like that one a lot too. It is probably the best one, but there are a few episodes that I liked. All right, I liked the I should probably just pull up the episode names.
I feel like you like the Who of You.
That's the one with the guy who just
the actor who
transfers
swaps,
into people. Yeah, I didn't love it, but it was all right. I liked the small town. I liked a human face. That one I fought for, and I liked the one with the 2 girls in the school. I thought that one was pretty good too.
Oh yeah. I fought you on a human face because I really didn't like that one, but yeah. I mean, that small town was not bad. Like, a small town, I felt was the best one at that point. Although it's not perfect, but certainly not bad by any means. And then Try is the one that I actually outright just like. So we'll call that. I'll give it a generous 2 out of 10 for the season. Well, literally 2 out of 10. 2 good out of 10.
Okay. I'll give it a 5.
Hey, it's better than the 0 out of 10 that season 1 got.
Yeah, season 1 was pretty rough. I mean, I really worked hard to try to find things that were positive about it.
Yeah, Tara loves being good cop. Tara tries her best to be good cop, and just didn't quite. I'm actually just looking at season 1 again, just in case there was one I forgot that was actually not bad, but honestly, not really. So
I did like the finale. I didn't like the message because it just didn't feel earned, but I did enjoy watching it still.
But we all enjoyed the new Batman trailer, and that's what's important. So
Yeah, it looks good.
So there you go. That is our final season 2 episode review, and I think it might be interesting to people to know what we're replacing this with next week, because we're not just letting the slot go on unfilled. We're keeping something in its place.
Yep. My arm has been fully twisted.
Tara's arm was not twisted. Tara presented her arm.
Why does it hurt?
And said, would you like to gently contour?
Choose your words carefully.
Contour this. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a softer word for twist. Anyway, so yes, Tara, I want you to tell them. I want you to say what we're doing next week.
Okay. We are starting a new show. For an old show. It's Babylon 5. Pew, 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 pew.
Oh my god. Things have changed.
A science fiction classic that I have seen some of season 1, and that's all.
Yes.
That's all I've seen.
Well, here's the thing. So I want to temper one sort of side of the expectations for this. Is that for anyone who saw my reviews of the first 16, 17 episodes about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago now. It's been a while. We are starting from the start, so that both of us are there for the whole time. And that was basically, and I'll explain this again at the end of the first episode probably, just so that anyone who stumbles onto it can find out why. But basically, it's been so long enough since I had watched them that I wanted to rewatch the episode. I needed to rewatch the episodes. Tara needs to watch from the start, so we figured we might as well just start from the start and give our thoughts combined and go that way. So we were going to be covering Babylon 5. The only caveat to this is that when there's a new show that Tara may have to fill in for, a new HBO show or something like that, something comes up, classic Twilight Zone and Babylon 5 will alternate week to week in those events, so that we're not stacking tons of shows on top of one another. But at normal circumstances, you'll get one of each per week, and that's what's going to happen. So for example, when new Twilight Zone comes back in a year probably, or maybe more than that because of the pandemic, we'll be alternating for those 10 weeks that we're covering the new Twilight Zone and any other example. So there you go. Look forward.
Yep.
There you go.
I've heard the show is good.
So Tara, would you like to tell everyone about Patreon?
Sure. So if you enjoy us and our content and our reviews, please check out our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/MildFuzzTV. And if you donate as low as $1 per month, you will get access to some reviews a week early, some reviews a day early. Oh yeah, I always do it wrong. You never bonus episodes of shows.
You get bonuses. You never used to. It's just the last couple of weeks for some reason you've started swapping everything.
I used to bowl a lot with my friends, and I didn't know how to bowl when I started. And then I started to get better, where I would get like consistently like 150 per game, which is not terrible. And then as I got better, I got worse. Every week I showed up, I'm like, but I know how to do this better. Why am I getting worse at it? So it's just a thing I do, I guess.
People talk about regression before progression. I feel like that's progression before regression.
Yep.
Which is not the way you're supposed to do it. Oh well.
Yeah. But anyway, if you donate $5 per month, you can get that perk. If you donate $1, you will get bonus episodes of other shows we do, including our science fiction movie review show, The Ace. So please check that out. Thank you.
Yes. So, yes, I also get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates, and please do like on YouTube. Liking is super important. It's a nice, easy, and free way to support us and keep all the content coming. Otherwise, I think that's us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. The Twilight Zone.